off from my view as a 13-year-old. What do I see across the world? What's happening around the world today? Right, definitely not something before COVID crisis, isn't it? Even though we see COVID as our first and foremost threat, what is a billion times bigger problem? I'm well aware of the fact that there would be something or the other special or unique about every day. It might be a peak of a milestone, as in someone's birthday, or a fatal day with regards to demise, any disease, or even a heartbreaking news. Yet, we humans still have the honor and are blessed of sharing and trying to shrug off our pain to talking with someone or spending time with them in order to come back to earth. So the ones with us would be our family, relatives, and 200% our dear friends. However, we are now living in a digital era where even talking with someone living on another planet seems to be possible. Now, let's see the same situation if we don't have the ability to talk or spend time with, but end up being hashed in spite of the pleading. So, what exactly am I talking about, and what is that so-called billion times bigger problem I've mentioned before? Well, we all know we're not the only living organisms on this enormous planet. We also have animals, insects, and herbs, etc. So what do these trees and other creatures feel when the same pain is being experienced by them? Trees definitely can walk or run away from there. Now, for a moment, let's think like this. When we come across an area with numerous trees, what do you, being the only one standing in front of them, feel? Well, we feel there are enough number of trees and definable amount of oxygen available. But you need to know, you're not the only living organism on this enormous planet. And therefore, the number of the other you across the globe is huge in number. The trees shall feel the same like how we did before, except for the tables being turned now. I guess that's what we refer to as unity. Representing the whole in the picture informs us that in this world, it's globally estimated for the number of trees to be 3.04 trillion, which means there are roughly about 422 trees for every living person on earth. Here is one of my strong beliefs about the power and beauty of nature by Khalil Gibran. Trees are poems that the earth writes upon the sky, however, are cut down and turned into paper that we may record our emptiness. Throughout the history or our ancient era, we've seen trees playing a key role that even the writers, philosophers too were addicted, that they composed many stories, poems and whatnot. What are we doing to them now? We are literally ending their life, their journey. What have the trees done or provided that they deserve such an ending? They provide us with numerous things, but all they get back is a full stop to their life. Is it their mistake to battle environmental change? To clean the air? To spare water? To help forestall water contamination? Nourishment? What mistake have they done? We shall go up to a tree and say, it's all your mistake to help others while sacrificing yourselves. Yet remnants, the answer you get back shall always be, I'm glad I could have helped. We've seen through our eyes the nature, the sins, the deeds, of course, COVID and whatnot. Nowadays, a survey says for the amount of wood consumption to be 15.3 billion for every year. Literally each and every year. And mark, it's only for the usage of wood. It's also being estimated that 46% of the world's trees have been cut down over the past 12,000 years just for the usage of wood. At the present, the status of wood supply and demand is 44.93 million meter cube, with a decline from the domestic wood supply of 6.4% to 22.92 million meter cube was an increase from the previous year of 4.7%. Now we must accept that wood waste is considered the second largest components under the threat of nature's being. In fact, there was a movement in my country which was mainly done through the act of hugging trees, from protecting them to be cut down. This movement eventually led in change of policies to stop cutting down these trees. We all know how important resources are and also about the 3 R's: recycle, reuse, and reduce. Now, was the Beetle following the same with trees, which were meant to be at first place? Hence, I'm here with a small contribution towards this very huge issue. It all began at my grandparents' house, just like many of our stories. To make sure you all know, my grandparents reuse whatsoever instead of throwing it away just for a very simple reason: it had served them all way long. This idea of theirs was more like their motto or their magical mantra they strongly believed in. However, it really annoyed me. Woefully, due to some issue, my grandmother was advised not to sleep on a soft mattress, but rather a bench. Well, unfortunately, or for me, fortunately, guess what? The bench seems to have been broken. Now, due to their so-called mantra, they cannot bring themselves up, willing to throw away that bench. Here spouts my ingenious idea, where I thought of making something out of it. I was obviously hurt immediately. However, I managed to convince my parents, though my grandparents weren't really seconding my idea. It was a big piece of wood, so I, under a master's in visualization, along with my parents, made a plenty of new mesmerizing modern archaic pieces. After a long period of time and series of trials, boom, there we go. I made my so-called experimental creations, and the results were pretty shocking. I was so happy when I heard that my creations were of some use that even a few people will to purchase them. And of course, I was really proud of myself, and I definitely remember that day very well, because I was given special treatment and my parents signed me up for an event too. I felt so emotional. I got a few to my house for decor and displaying them. Out of nowhere, I suddenly think I should actually thank my teacher for giving a holiday homework on a related topic. At least it was for a use. There are many ways to reduce wood wastage, like mine, by carving them into better ones with a garnish of creativity and a little care. Closing with, let's all together oath to promise that even if it would be a little contribution, nevertheless, we would step forward in order to help the world a better place together as one. Can we? Thank you.